I'm treating the Ninth Jedi differently because it is a non-canon project that takes place 1,000 years in the future. So what I'd say is this. The Ninth Jedi... Hey guys, welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today we're going to jump into a review for the Star Wars Vision's first season offshoot titled Star Wars The Ninth Jedi, which just aired on Disney+. The whole season's out. In this video, I'm going to break down my thoughts on the show, talk about the pros, the cons, in between, my expectations for the future, and at the very end of the video, I'm going to give you my review and my rating on the show. So if you want that directly, click right now to the end of the video with the timestamps marked down below. But for the time being, I have a lot to say about the show. There's a lot of things I liked, there's some things I didn't like, and overall, someone like me who really doesn't watch anime much, it was interesting. It was different. I watched Visions. I thought Visions was cool here and there, especially like I remember the first pilot episode was awesome. And the Ninth Jedi is very cool too. I think out of all the projects they probably put out, looking back on it now in hindsight after having seen the Ninth Jedi probably has the most longevity out of all of it. And that really leads me into the first thing I liked about the Ninth Jedi. So let's go into my show notes here, which I have here on my iPhone. First thing, the Ninth Jedi. The setting takes place 1,000 years after the Skywalker saga. So when the show opens, they make it clear. Things have changed, governments have changed, the Jedi are pretty much gone. The Sith are pretty much gone too, and it seems like there's a new table to be set, right? There's new characters, there's new, understandings and governments and what have you. And I thought that was great. I always was of the opinion that we need to get away from the Skywalker saga, maybe do something Old Republic, maybe do something, in the future. But I think 1,000 years into the future is great because it gets you away from the consequence of the sequel trilogy, and it also respects the Old Republic, right? I think there's an issue where maybe they don't want to touch the Old Republic too much because they don't want to upset any fans. So I think taking it 1,000 years into the future is really cool. Now, disclaimer, this is not canon. This is not in the official Star Wars timeline, but there are some pretty cool things about this. Even the opening shot, I'll put a screenshot right here, you can see that the government is collapsed, like Coruscant is pretty much dead. It seems like these things have been abandoned, almost like an older ancient society. I mean, look at ancient Egypt, for example, right? We've left that time. The artifacts are there, but it's a remnant of the past. This leads me into my next pro, which is it shows change in the galaxy. It shows that things can be different. Not everything is dark and light and Jedi and Sith, ironically, but it shows that there's potential that we're moving past these things, past these tropes, right? The next thing I enjoyed is that there's sort of a new evil Sith order. Now, quick little spoiler alert, this leads into my next pro, and if you want to skip or pause, be sure to do so now. But I would have to say that it's different, right? So Kara is like one of the main pieces. She's the girl that you see in the back screen right now. And her lightsaber is silver, right? Nawam, who's the evil sort of Sith, his lightsaber silver. Lajima, who is the father of Kara and the lightsaber welder and maker, he's silver too. Lightsabers reflect what's in your heart. This is what's different about this time period. 1,000 years later, Lajima constructs lightsabers to reflect your inner being, so you can really see who you are. Are you light? Are you dark? Are you somewhere in the middle? And these three characters are somewhere in the middle, which is interesting because the one who more aligns with the evil Sith, bad warlord character, he's silver too for most of the show. So you get to kind of see a new order. Nawam is closer to what Kylo Ren would have been had he kept going past the Rise of Skywalker, if he never turned back. Let the past die, start a new order, take my hand, let the past die, get rid of the Jedi and Sith. That's where Nawam was going towards, but through the same means of, path of destruction, so to speak. So I thought it was cool to see a more like original kind of villain. Even though at the end of the show, Nawam does turn Sith, right? His lightsaber does turn red, which I was a little disappointed by because we're going back to that same old trope, right? One of the pros I said was that things were different, but the show kind of goes back to things sort of being the same at the end. The second thing I like were the character backstories, right? All these characters had like sort of different backstories. I liked the idea that there was no lightsabers left, right? That's how the Ninth Jedi begins. There are no lightsabers left. Lajima's constructing these lightsabers and he accidentally gives them to the Sith in the anthology episode, right? In the original Visions start point. I think that's so freaking cool. Even the one character that kind of, I guess, looks like a dog or I don't know, maybe like a Pokemon or whatever. I don't know. Don't judge me, right? He's sort of like a Sith in the beginning, but then his lightsaber turns purple. So it's cool because it plays on the characters' emotions, their inner feelings, and they're all a little bit different, right? No one has a set path. These are masterless Jedi, as they refer to in the show, masterless Jedis. They have no allegiances, no masters, no guidance. So the characters all feel a little bit different in a way. And even Kara, right? Kara kind of goes from very innocent to very evil, back into the middle. And that's not necessarily backstory. Her backstory sort of shapes that, right? Because she's fatherless. For most of the show, she's fatherless, right? Her father is captured at some point and she's looking for him. That's the basis of her story. That's her motivation. Her master Jero is trying to bring back the Jedi Order. So it's like a lot of different things going on, a lot of different character backstories that I liked. It felt like it was just a really original set of characters, to the point where, you know, it took me 2 or 3 episodes to really feel like, oh, wow, this is Star Wars. There's so much nuance, there's so much new novelty in Star Wars Visions, the Ninth Jedi, that for a while it was like, wow, this feels a little unfamiliar, because we got so used to the Skywalker saga, we got so used to seeing these offshoots, right, of these different characters we already knew about or heard about with an earshot of a scene, for example. And it was just a breath of fresh air, to the point where I was like, holy crap, like this is different. I mean, even the ship designs look different. The lightsaber combat is different. How lightsabers are used are kind of different. It felt very new. It felt very original. And that's something I really appreciate this day in Star Wars, because listen, Star Wars fans are the hardest fans to please. It's hard to nail something original, and Visions does a lot of nailing originality, which I really appreciated. So I'm going to try to keep this review condensed as possible. So let's move on to what I didn't like about the show, or maybe not that I didn't like, but things that felt a little off. So one of the first things I wrote in my notes as for the cons, the villain looks too much like Kylo Ren right off rip. He's got the slimmed down figure, he's got the mask, he's got the voice changer, and then when he takes off his mask, he looks like, you know, something out of like a L'Oreal Paris commercial. It's too much Kylo. Even his whole thing with like letting go of old tropes of Jedi and Sith, it's a little too much like Kylo for my liking. I didn't really care for that much, and he sort of maintains that throughout the show. I wanted something just a little bit more original, a little more different, but you know, you can't please everyone. You need a villain, right? When you're starting a new series, and when you're starting a new series and a new timeline, you need a little familiarity. And I guess the familiarity here was the villain. And the next con was something I really didn't like. I didn't like the main weapon. Those of you who haven't seen, the main weapon is a Death Star laser. The villains in the show are trying to get this massive kyber crystal to plug into their Death Machine laser device to blow up planets. Guys, Death Star 1, Death Star 2, Starkiller Base, Rise of Skywalker, Death Star ships. We have to stop with the laser blowing up planet thingy. We have to find a new original plot device besides that. Yeah, I guess it's cool or whatever, but it's 4 times now or whatever, however I just named off. It's too many times. We got to stop doing that. We have to find another sort of villainous device to propel the plot besides a Death Star laser. That really annoyed me. It's 1,000 years later and we're still doing Death Star stuff like that. I didn't like that. I personally didn't like that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I didn't like that. And also another little nitpick, there were just some parts in the show that I kind of felt like it didn't look like great quality. I thought it looked a little low quality in some instances. I remember there was a scene early on in the show where the ships are flying away, and I kind of felt like I was watching Titan AE. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Titan AE. That's a super throwback. Google it and you'll see what I mean. But there were some points in the show where I thought the graphics and animation looked a little bit off. Now, again, I'm not a big anime guy. I don't know if it's intended to look like that. So that's where you guys will come in and correct me. Anyone who watches anime and stuff like that. You guys come in and correct me, and I'm totally open to that criticism. And one of the last gripes I have, it piggybacks off of one of the cons, right? Which was originality. 1,000 years later, but you get such a little backstory. Now, I understand I think it was an 8 or 9 episode season. I understand maybe you don't want to go too much into the backstory, but I would like to know a little bit about how the government functioned, who was in power, why the Jedi disappear, why did the Sith go away. Like, I want to know a little bit about that stuff. And there are little ways they could have thrown it in there, but they sort of kind of didn't. And being that we're in this new plot and setting, it made the show seem a little isolated and tight, kind of akin to like A New Hope, right? Like if you watch Star Wars, A New Hope, it's very isolated. Not knowing anything else is very isolated. It's a group of rebels going after the Empire. You don't know much about what's going on outside of that, besides that there's a war and a civil war and they blow up the Empire and everyone goes home happy. So Vision's Ninth Jedi is kind of like that a little bit in a sense too. And I would have liked to see a little bit of backstory development. I don't know if we'll ever get it. I don't know if the show is going to do well or not. I thought, you know, I enjoyed it, but that was something that I like to would have seen more. I want to see the backstory about what happened in those 1,000 years. At least like a little bit, like a little something. Other than that, I didn't have too many nitpicks. I thought some of the character names were a little similar. Like I actually had to go back in this video and like practice the names because there were just so many and they all sound kind of like similar and stuff. But otherwise, you know, I enjoyed the show. So that leads me to my next point, which is my final review. So I'm not going to score on a scale of 1 to 10. I feel like 1 to 10 is hard to do. I'm treating the Ninth Jedi differently because it is a non-canon project that takes place 1,000 years in the future. So what I'd say is this. The Ninth Jedi was very enjoyable. It's ambitious, it takes Star Wars in a different direction, and it showcases what Star Wars could be if Star Wars wanted to take some leaps and some risks and not play it so safe, even though the Ninth Jedi plays it safe in some instances. So in my opinion, I enjoyed it very much. I recommend it to the next person. I think you should watch it too if you're watching this review. And in my opinion, again, I thought it was actually like kind of awesome. I actually sat there on my couch. I don't watch TV anymore. I watch YouTube here and there, a little Star Wars here and there, right? But I don't sit on my couch anymore and watch TV. I just don't have time for it. I literally sat there and binge watched this whole thing. The last time I sat there and binge watched something was not even binge watched. The last time I sat down and watched something on my couch, Star Wars related, really focused in, was Ahsoka season 1. That really had me. This really had me too. So I'm excited to see where it goes. There's a cliffhanger at the end. I'm not going to say what the cliffhanger is, but it's pretty awesome. And I think you should go check it out and get to the end, see the cliffhanger, and let me know what you guys think about the show in general and what your thoughts and your review on the matter is. So again, I'm all in on season 2. I'm all in more Star Wars anime. I like if it were a little bit darker. Maybe if they can make the anime just be a little more high quality, right? That's just my little opinion on that. I think it'd be awesome. So with that being said, guys, let me know your thoughts on the Ninth Jedi down below. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you going to check it out because of my review? And what do you think of anime and Star Wars going forward? I'm actually pretty excited. I think this new medium can present a lot of cool and different opportunity to Star Wars in the future if they're able to do more stuff like this. So with that being said, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this review. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until next time, may the Force be with you always. I'll catch you guys in the next video.